For a time, there were paleo workers who agreed with Ostrom's hypothesis that birds and dromaeosaurids were closely related, but they thought he had the order of operations flipped. They thought that flight evolved first and drove the development of higher metabolisms and extensive feathering. Then animals returned to the ground and developed running abilities. The most famous of these is probably Greg Paul's protobirds hypothesis. As flying descendants of Archaeopteryx became more and more like modern birds, clades split off of that, becoming secondarily flightless ground dwellers. First the dromaeosaurids, then the troodontids, most of the oviraptorosaurs, the ornithomimosaurs, and lastly, avomimids. Paul formulated most of this in the 80s, before it was known just how extensive feathering is in the dinosaur family tree. He was basing it on skeletal characters, particularly the skull, like the roof of the mouth, or the arms, the feet, details of the chest. In various animals, acquired traits that are even more bird-like than they are in Archaeopteryx. And to Paul, these were too similar to be a coincidence. They must have inherited these from a flying ancestor. Which is not how this happened, we think, but Paul had correctly identified the problem we're working on. His protobirds were more susceptible to secondary flightlessness than crown birds because they weren't strong flyers to begin with, and they still had working hands and claws competing with the wing for functional evolution. And that insight, that Pennaraptors would have been prone to reversals and convergences as they spread into new spaces, is valid. And in a meta way, he also predicted how the problem of determining which traits are convergent and which traits are inherited was about to get a lot thornier when it comes to the closest relatives of birds.